first federal program on WROI Giant FM and streaming live on the First Federal Facebook page.
It is Friday morning, and it is time for the First Federal program. 39 degrees, Tanner. Why'd you bring the cold?
Morning, Paul. It is cold. It's cold, it's dark, but temperature's going to be on the rise a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. We're going to get up to around 60 today, so
all right.
We'll see.
We could take that for October 28th.
Yeah.
It could be a lot worse.
It could be.
You know,
I know there's been times we've had white stuff falling this time, so.
Exactly, and this weekend looks like it's going to be decent weather.
Yeah.
Nice fall weekend.
Good for all
before we get into November.
Yeah. It's good for all the Halloween parties.
Exactly. Halloween's coming up on Monday.
Yep.
You have a favorite kind of Halloween candy, Paul?
Anything but candy corn.
Yeah, I'm not a candy corn fan either.
Yeah, no.
I don't mind it when it's mixed in with the mix. With the, you still don't like that?
Still don't like it now.
But I know some people who love it just as itself. It's never been. I don't know. It's a texture thing. I just never a big fan of it.
I think it's a texture thing.
I like some chocolate. I'm a big sour candy. I like Sour Patch Kids and sour gummy worms, those type of things. So, did you have a favorite costume growing up when you went trick-or-treating? Is there a costume that you look back in your childhood that sticks out?
Back-to-back years, I went as Spider-Man and then Wolverine.
Those are good ones.
Spider-Man, but
Those are good ones.
That's about it. Those were my two favorites.
I went Superman one year when I was really young. When I was a football player one year, Pretty Pete one year. I don't remember all of them. But I had a whole different variety. But your kids trick-or-treating this year?
Yes, they are.
What are they going as?
We've got an undead president, a lawyer, and an undead bride.
Cool.
So,
Very good. I wonder what the most popular trick-or-treating costume is going to be this year.
You know, I don't know. We'll have to wait and find out.
I don't either. We'll have to
I wouldn't even have a guess.
look up some article. Yeah, I'm a little out of touch. I mean, I would think for little girls, maybe Frozen's still popular.
Well,
I don't know.
I've seen some reports. The most searched costumes were Harley Quinn, a witch, Spider-Man. The top three.
All right, that makes sense.
So interesting.
Spider-Man's always going to be towards the top. I think for
absolutely.
little boys. So
Absolutely.
You do much worse than that. So. Well, I got some trivia this morning for you, Paul, that relates to candy.
Okay.
According to MoneyInc.com, what is the top-selling candy bar of all time?
Ooh.
I'll give you 4 choices here. Is it Twix, Reese's, Hershey Bar, or Snickers?
All right.
All pretty good ones.
Yeah, they are. It's going to be tough.
I'll give you the show to think about it.
Yeah, I'll try to come up with an educated answer somehow.
You usually do pretty well. So, got some sports going on tonight. Some high school sectional semifinals football. That's kind of a mouthful there.
Yeah.
Rochester is traveling to Benton Central tonight.
Yes.
Rochester's taking their 9-1 record on the road. Benton Central's 4-6. What time's pregame?
6:40.
6:40.
Yep.
6:40. So Randy Wynn will be live on the call there.
Yes.
Should be a good one. Let's see if Rochester can advance to the sectional final.
Which will be at home next week.
Yeah. See,
So
that'd be a big deal. They haven't won a sectional title since 2000.
Yeah.
So it's been a little while. They're due.
Yeah.
They're due.
It's been 35 years since they went to state, so I think it's time for that too.
Yeah, there you go. Tippecanoe Valley, who also has a 9-1 record, they're hosting their game tonight against Gearin Catholic, who's 6-4. They had a shutout win over Peru last week, so we'll see if they can get to a sectional final.
Yeah.
Gearin Catholic might ring a bell around here. Rochester grad Pete Smith was the basketball coach at Gearin Catholic and won 2 state titles in 2012 and 2015. So that's why that school name might ring a bell around here. College football, Notre Dame is the only big state school in action this weekend.
I know.
Ball State plays next Tuesday. We're in that time of year where I think I read on Twitter last night, starting with last night's NFL game on Thursday, 27 days in a row there's some kind of football, either college football or NFL.
Wow.
So we're in that time of year they're going to start throwing some college games on different weeknights.
Yeah.
So Ball State plays next Tuesday. Purdue and Indiana are both on byes, which they both need bye weeks coming off losses, and they're both a little banged up. So need to get that bye week to try to get healthy for the home stretch run in November. But Notre Dame's in action, coming off a win last week against UNLV. They're now 4-3. They traveled to number 16 Syracuse, who was handed their first loss of the year last week at Clemson, which is, I mean, nothing to hang your head about losing at Clemson, but they were up 11 points pretty late in the game and kind of let it fade away.
Yeah, well.
Syracuse is a 2.5-point favorite. That game's at noon on ABC tomorrow, so Notre Dame fans don't have to wait very long tomorrow to watch them play.
Nope.
The Colts and Bears are both in action. Colts made a quarterback change. Sam Ellinger, according to Frank Reich, is going to be the quarterback here on forward for the season. So Matt Ryan era didn't last very long for the Colts. Colts are now 3-1 after their loss to Tennessee, but they are 3-point favorites when they're going to be hosting the Washington Commanders on Sunday, who are 3-4. That game's at 4:25 on Fox, so not the usual 1 o'clock time slot.
No. And we'll have that at starting an hour beforehand.
Exactly. So listen to a little pregame, and I think a lot of people need to try to sync their TV with the radio. That's how I like to do it. So that way you don't have to listen to the TV commentators. You can listen to Matt Taylor.
Yeah.
So,
a little difficult at times.
It can be. But if you can get close, it's good enough.
Yep.
And the Bears also play on Fox. They're coming off a big win Monday night at New England. Their first ever win at New England. They're now 3-4. Now they travel to Dallas to take on the 5-2 Cowboys, who are 9.5-point favorites. That game's at 1 o'clock on Fox. So just put it on Fox and you can watch the Bears and then the Colts back to back.
Yeah.
In the MLB playoffs, the Phillies and the Astros, the World Series matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to talk about this last week, although the Yankees were still alive last week on Friday. They didn't have much life to them, but they were still alive. But they got swept by the Astros, and so now the Astros are in the World Series for the fourth time out in the last 6 years. And the Phillies' first time since 2009. So it'll be interesting because those two cities play in football next Thursday. The Eagles play at the Houston Texans, so it's kind of interesting mixed up.
Yeah.
So if I had to make a prediction, I'll take the Astros in 6 games.
All right.
I hope the Phillies beat them, but I think the Astros are too good.
All right, we'll see.
Here's my prediction. Got some tidbits here this morning. On this day, 1904, the St. Louis police tried a new investigation method. That would be fingerprints.
Oh, okay.
Still pretty useful today.
Yeah.
On this day in 2015, so just a few years in the future there, the longest first game of a World Series took place when the Royals beat the Mets 5-4 in a 14-inning game that took 5 hours and 9 minutes to complete.
Wow.
It's a pretty long time.
That is a long time.
And on this day last year, Mark Zuckerberg announced that Facebook would be changing its corporate name to Meta.
Mm-hmm.
Still trying to get used to that.
Yeah. There's been a lot of issues since Meta came around.
There has
That's all I'm going to say on that.
Well, they wanted to change that because they were definitely in the public eye last year at this time for some things. So he thought rebranding would be the way to go. And I don't know. Today is Frankenstein Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. The Frankenstein movies, you watched a lot of them?
Yeah.
How about Young Frankenstein? You like Young Frankenstein?
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gene Wilder there.
Mm-hmm.
It is also National Chocolate Day, fitting with our trivia question there. National Bandana Day, International Animation Day, Plush Animal Lovers Day, National Immigrants Day, National First Responders Day, and National Breadstick Day. Fan of breadsticks?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Where's your favorite restaurant to get a breadstick at?
Honestly, probably Pizza King.
Pizza King's got good breadsticks.
I really like their breadsticks.
Pizza King, Pizza Hut has good breadsticks. Olive Garden.
I've never had Olive Garden.
You got to try it out. Try it out sometime. Yeah.
I got the look.
Got some upcoming local events, starting with Rochester Downtown's Partnerships putting on Boo Fest tonight.
Yes.
That's going to be from 4:30 to 5:30. They do that every year. Kids come downtown, show off their costumes, get some candy.
Mm-hmm. That's
going to take place at Centennial Park or in front of the American Legion.
Yep.
There's going to be 2 locations. There's also going to be a costume contest with prizes. That's going to be at 5:45. Make sure you go to Smith's or Smith beforehand to sign up for that.
Yep.
Speaking of the Rochester Downtown Partnership, I want to give some flowers to Christine Walsh, who's their events director. there. She was named the October Shining Star Award recipient from the Fulton County Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
So, and she's done a great job of bringing the Nickel Plate Music and Arts Festival to Rochester every year, and that was her vision when she moved back here from New York, was to try to get more arts and music into the community, and she's done a great job with that. So,
oh, absolutely.
thank you, Christine, for all your work, continued work you do in the community. Money news. See, Elon Musk officially has acquired Twitter now. Did you see that?
Yes.
$44 billion, 6 months and 6 month process, and looks like the CEO and CFO are on their way out already.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about him walking in. He walks in with a sink that has "Let That Sink In" written on it.
it was pretty clever, but yes, I'm anxious to see if and what changes come about to Twitter here in the future.
Yeah, he says there's going to be some changes,
Yeah.
Loosening of restrictions and things like that.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And in the platform itself, I noticed the other day they are starting to add some more features. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yep.
We'll see, because I know you use Twitter. I use Twitter.
Yeah, not a whole lot, but
Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah. So it's mostly used for a news source.
Yes.
So, but it can be a positive experience or a negative experience, just like any social media. So
Absolutely.
just imagine how you use it. Well, today at First Federal, we're open from 8:30 till 5, and tomorrow from 8:30 to noon. We'd love to see you, whether it's in the lobby or through the drive-thru. And if you need to do some banking and we're not open, you can always bank with us online and with our free mobile app. Android, Apple, doesn't matter what you have. Go to your app store, type in First Federal Savings Bank for the white star with the green background. And it's free to download, like I mentioned. And our ATM is also open 24/7 if you need some cash, and if you're out about this weekend, maybe doing some traveling, doing some shopping. We are part of the MoneyPass network, so go to moneypass.com. You can look for a whole abundance of ATMs that are surcharge free, so you won't get charged a surcharge. And we're offering Simply Free checking accounts and Simply Free business checking accounts. Right now, when you open up a new checking account, you'll get a brownie pan.
Yes, saw that last week.
Yes, Todd did a good job of bringing that in. Something I forget to do often is bring the gift in, so I wasn't worried about it this morning knowing that Todd brought it in last week. But you can get one of those right now. Just all you gotta do is open up a Simply Free checking account. If you already have a checking account but want that gift, you're still in luck. There's still a way you can get that gift. You can simply just refer a friend. Your friend comes in, tells you who sent them. Not only will they get a gift for opening up the account, you will as well for referring them. You can even do that online.
Yeah.
Speaking of online, we're offering online checking account openings. So if you can't make it into the lobby or simply don't want to come into the bank, you can still open up a checking account, a CD, or a savings account right online. It's fast, quick, and easy. Only takes a handful of minutes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Pretty,
there you go.
Pretty simple, and when you're asked who referred you, just say Paul's Art.
And we are still offering a 15-month CD special right
Yes.
now, 1.76 annual percentage yield.
Yes.
So take advantage of that as well. So one of our new accounts representatives can give you more details on that. We're still offering commercial lending, of course, for businesses. Contact Lenny Breeden for more information. His direct line is 574-223-1716. And if you're thinking about planning for your retirement, 401k, IRA, anything of that nature, contact Mark Blueball or Brian Bell of our Financial Services Department for more information. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at FFBanking. Like our LinkedIn page and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which you'll find all the radio shows from the past 3 years, maybe even 4 years. I always forget. I need to go fact check and stuff on that. Just hit the subscribe and hit the notification bell so that anytime we upload a new video, you'll get notified. We're the only locally owned bank in Fulton County. We want to be the biggest bank, just the best. Borrowers must meet underwriting guidelines. We're FDIC insured and an equal housing lender. And our NMLS number is 399927.
And that makes us legal.
Makes us legal and ready to welcome in our guest this morning, Rusty Moore, who is the Fulton County Transpo Transportation Supervisor. Good morning, Rusty. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Todd Van Sickles is going to also assist with the interview this morning.
Morning, Rusty. Welcome.
Good morning, Todd.
Glad you're here today.
Thank you.
So first off, Rusty, I guess, how many years have you been involved with Fulton County Transpo, and what does the title of Transportation Supervisor entail?
Well, I'm in my 11th year. It entails every aspect of transportation, from the marketing side to the maintenance of the vehicles, scheduling all of the. There's a lot of government interaction with the FDA and with NDOT, and I handle all of that as well.
So 11 years, what are some of the changes you've seen over those 11 years? Whether it be with operations or...
Well, overall, I'd say the biggest change is the interaction with our TAP is Rural Transportation Assistance Program, and our interaction with them, and they provide all of our training. I think NDOT has kept about the same requirements as far as training goes, but the training has become more intense and there's more offerings. All the drivers have to be trained 7 different ways and certified.
Wow.
From CPR first aid to defensive driving. We have a passenger assistance training that teaches you how to not only deal with people who are maybe limited mobility, but also how to attach a wheelchair to the vehicle and keep everyone safe.
How many...
Rusty, it's safety first, right, basically?
It is safety first, yes.
And you do a lot of training, ongoing training that
Right.
people have to get recertified and things like that, right?
Yes, all the training is at least every 2 years. We just completed this year's training 2 weeks ago. They've gone to webinar on a lot of it. It used to be 4-hour classes and they would come in person or we would have to go somewhere, and now we're able to do it in 2 hours with a webinar.
That's nice.
And just our group. And yeah, it does. You still get the same amount of training and it's so much quicker.
So you offer and maintain a fleet of vehicles that's housed in the community center or council on aging. How many vehicles do you have?
We have 11 vehicles. We're looking at replacing 2 next year. We did just find, Doug and I just attended the NDOT annual meeting the week before last and found that with the microchip shortage as well as the overall financials in the country right now, that our cost on vehicles is going up exponentially. I mean, it's
Wow.
really going up. So
I know those are expensive anyway because they're,
right.
they're multiple purpose use and
Right.
they have to
Well,
be
they've been
specialized.
converted.
Yeah.
Everything we own in minivans are Braun conversions, which around here we're very familiar with.
Right.
And yeah, there's a large expense there, but it's all for to meet the requirements of ADA, and we're looking at a couple of new vans next year. Upon replacement, everything we have right now has a ramp on the side, on the passenger side, and they now have rear entry for wheelchair. And I think we're going to look at 2 of those for next year because I would like to try, and we do lose some seating when there's not a wheelchair in there, but we also gain seating, the same amount of seating when there is a wheelchair. So I'm looking forward to trying that rear entry. And then we have 2 large 12-passenger mid-transits that we also operate.
And seating's important because when we talked a few weeks ago for a United Way video we were working on, you mentioned the number of rides that are given. And
Right.
I think if our listeners and the viewers on Facebook Live would know, the number of rides you give on a weekly basis now or a daily basis is a phenomenal number. Why don't you share a little bit about that?
Pre-COVID, we had an average for the year. We had an average of 170 trips a day. We're back up to 100 average, and it's climbing. This time of year, as it gets colder, less people ride their bikes and walk and use us a little bit more, and we increase through the winter. But yeah, we're back up to consistently having 100 trips a day.
So 100 trips a day, what kind of rides are people needing to go
Well,
to work?
it's anything from, you could live right here in town and just need to go to the pharmacy, or you could be in the outskirts of the county. The other day we had someone that lived in Kiwanis that doctored in Akron and needed a trip. And so, it doesn't seem like much when you think about it, but that's about an hour-long trip. Time you get all the way to Kiwanis, back to Akron, and back to Rochester. Fulton County's not enormous, but that's 25 miles. So, yeah, we have all different kinds of needs. We take about 35% of all the trips we do right now are to or from work. We do 2 routes, morning and afternoon, for the clients at the Manitowoc Training Center. One's east and one's west. Each route's about 60 miles. And we transport them back and forth as well. So.
What's a ride cost, and are there any age discounts?
There's not really a discount. It's just if you're 60 or older, it's by donation only. And if you're under that, if it's in the county, more or less outside the bypass around the edges, if it's within the county but outside the city limits, it's $4 per person per destination. If it's inside, then it's $2 per person per destination.
Speaking with Rusty Moore this morning, Fulton County Transportation Supervisor. How does someone make a reservation?
The simplest way is just to call in, preferably a day ahead, depending on what you're doing. Our phone number is 574-223-4213. And, but you can normally call an hour or two ahead. The busiest times, my drivers come on early in the morning, starting at 7. So we'll have one, and again in 15 to 30 minutes another comes on. And by 8:30, we're fully staffed. Fully staffed until about 2:30 or 3, and then they leave the same way. We're open until 5. So early morning and late afternoon are usually busy because we have less drivers. In peak, we have 8 drivers operating, and you know, we're covered up enough around the noon hour that we can't. We do same day service, but we can't always do same second service.
So you have 8 drivers operating during a day. How many drivers do you have in total?
We have a total of 10 right now. 8 are full time, 2 are part time. And I'm looking possibly in the near future to add another. But we do we do quite a bit of Medicaid work, and a lot of it's out of town. We go as far as Indianapolis. We go to South Bend, Mishawaka, Fort Wayne, Kokomo a lot. And so I am looking for someone at least to do that part time on call.
And your drivers need special credentials, basically.
Right. Yeah. You used to have a special license. It's a chauffeur's license, they called it back then. They've changed that. The state has changed that now. BMV only requires you to have an operator's license with, it's called a not-for-hire endorsement. The difference is that before, to get a chauffeur's license, you had to have a physical, and you had to have the results of that physical and pass the test for the license before they would issue a license. Now, NDOT does not require that you have the physical before you can hold the license without the physical, but you can't come drive for me without the physical. So, and they have to have physicals every 2 years, unless there's some extenuating circumstances, they have to have it once a year. But the physicals aren't super, but they look heavily if you have sleep apnea, if you have a heart condition, if you have diabetes, things like that.
It's all about safety.
Restrictions on, right.
Yeah.
Right.
If somebody's interested out there in becoming a driver, just contact you.
Yes, just come to the office. We have applications all the time, and they come in and we glad to give anyone the information they need. But from the outside looking in, it looks like great, easy, simple. Gosh, I could haul people around all day. But once you realize, and not that the training and all is very difficult,
Right.
I emphasize more that we do all the training. We have highly trained drivers after they're said, it's all said and done. So I don't ever want to discount that it's just an easy job to drive around town, because there's a lot of training. We do bloodborne pathogen training and the first aid CPR, as I said, and everything else. So.
Well, it's a great service you offer, because that's going to make the riders more comfortable too.
Right.
Knowing the drivers are
We're very fortunate. We have a really nice fleet. The oldest vans I have right now are 16s, which will or may be replaced in the spring. I've got 2 on order. We not only do we have a good fleet, we've created our own logo here in the last year, and so everything looks the same now and have the same colors. And but going around town, we're always going somewhere. If you're on this main street, you see the vans go by constantly.
Oh yeah.
I know you see them going like to the grocery store, to the hospital, things
Right.
like that. Doctor's offices,
Yes.
a lot of rides.
We do a lot of medical rides. Yeah, an awful lot. And then just going to the general grocery store, or sometimes it's someone just visiting a friend. They go for 2 or 3 hours, and we can haul your groceries, and we can haul most of the things. We cannot haul bicycles or large screen TVs or gasoline or batteries, or there's a long list of things like that. But yeah, generally we can take care of about anything you need.
What are the funding sources for Fulton County Transpo?
There are many, and they all have their own place. Of course, we have NDOT is one of our largest, comes from the state and the federal monies, and then we also have local funds. We do take our fares and have to use that. We have to have match monies whenever we're buying a van or getting new equipment. But locally, we have of course, the Community Foundation has been very gracious to us in helping us when we had some difficulties. Fulton County United Way has been a staple for us for years. My mother, years ago, was the director of the Council on Aging. She's the one that actually started up the public transportation in 01. And United Way has been there all along, So we also get money from the county commissioners. We get money from the city. The city owns the property we sit on, but the county owns the garage. And for all of the red tape we had to get when we got the grants for the funding, it had to be certain ways. But we all work really well together. The city and the county have been great for us and helping us. And we built the garage 10 years ago, and that's been a godsend as well. So.
Yeah, I visited your garage about a month or so ago, and it's a great place to store the vehicles, so they're not out in the weather and things like that. And maintenance, they take great pride in making sure the vehicles are always clean, and it's a great facility that I think a lot of people take pride in.
I'd like to be able to put a number on what it saved us every year, as far as not sitting out. Before the garage, in the wintertime, 2 drivers came in early, cleaned all the snow off all the vehicles, started them all, let them run 30 minutes, and I can't even imagine what that cost alone, especially with $4 gasoline. So
what are your hours of rides? We talked about you start some people at 7 o'clock.
We are Monday through Friday, 7 to 5, consistent through the day. We have holidays and things like that. Often, occasionally we have trainings and we try to post for that. But our peak hours, like I say, are roughly from 9 to 3.
And that's Monday through Friday. There's no
Monday
weekend
through Friday.
rides, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. We're always looking at weekends. We're looking at extending hours, and the state is always wanting us to venture into the unknown. Sometimes they do something that's called a fixed deviated route. Cass County does it, where they have actual bus stops, like you would imagine in South Bend or in Indianapolis. Indigo does this. The deviated part is that I think in Cass County, if you live within such a distance of the stop, it'll still come to your home. So it's fixed in.
Yeah.
Rochester's not really big enough, and we don't have a river that runs through the center of it that really cuts it up, and we don't really have much of a railroad, so it's not that bad. Rochester from the north to the south end is only about a mile and a half. So, and the largest part of our trips are on the south end because of the restaurants and the grocery store and all that. So
there's a lot to maintaining a fleet of 11 vehicles. I mean, maintenance and things like that.
There is. I always used to hate December or January coming because I'd always worry about the wife and the kids getting to and from school or work or whatever it is. Now I have 11 kids to worry about, and it's much worse. But when we try to watch the weather, we're really cautious. I think sometimes if you don't have transportation or haven't had for some time, I think you forget how long it takes you to get from point A to point B. And people expect, it's not. I'm looking out my window, it's not that bad snowy. Well, yeah, that's true, but down the road there's 6 feet of drifts, and the low floor minivans are lower to the ground than most vehicles as well, so our clearance isn't there. And so we do what we can, but we're also cautious. We don't want to have any.
Yeah, it's still about safety.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You want to be stranded on the road, and the wintertime does offer its challenges with the minivans, and I've driven minivans in snow and deep snow. It's a lot harder to drive those in.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Well, and when you have several riders on, all your weight's in the back, and you have front wheel drive, so you're hurting yourself by the more people you have on.
So if somebody wants to get more information about Fulton County Transpo, they can come in to your office, but
Right.
Where can they go online?
They can go online. We are just establishing a new Facebook page and website, so I honestly can't give you an address for the website because that's still under construction. They can't come to the office. The office is right across from the library, just east, 625 Pontiac Street, and it's the Fulton County Community Center, not to be confused with the Fulton Community Center. But within our building, then we have retired seniors volunteer program. We have energy assistance is in there now. They'll be in for the next 4 months. And then we also have the United Ministries back at the back, and the food pantry back at the back. And we're getting more and more people to come in. The line that rings for the Fulton County Hope actually rings into our building as well. And we have 2 people under training now to help people sign up for Medicare and Medicaid. That will be happening in 2 or 3 weeks.
So it's a full-service facility, not only houses Transpo.
Right, right.
If people do want to ride with Transpo, why don't you remind us what the number is?
574-223-4213.
And you have a dispatch basically there, and they'll figure out
Right.
who gets where.
We have a dispatcher on staff all times, yes.
Well, thank you, Rusty, for joining us this morning. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
everything you not only do for Fulton County Transpo, but for our community.
Well, thank you, and thank you to First Federal for recognizing people like myself. So
You do a great job, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Paul, and Rusty can take a guess at this too if he wants. Todd can take a guess. According to MoneyInc.com, what is the top-selling candy bar of all time? Gotta get my answers back here.
That's what gets me. It's the of all time.
Is it Twix, Reese's, Hershey Bar, or Snickers?
You want to go first, Rusty, or you want?
I'm thinking Reese's.
That's where I'm at too.
Reese's?
I'm Hershey.
Hershey?
Hershey acquired Reese's at one point in time.
I
So
know.
Hershey's older, I know that.
You're all 3 incorrect.
Really?
Snickers.
Really?
Yes. Over 2 billion sold annually, or 400 million in the U.S. alone.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
but all 4 of those were easily in the top 10. So
Good.
Did you bring any samples today?
I did not. I should have.
You
I
should have brought one of each, and then we could have tested it and said which one do we like better.
That sounds like a good segment to do in the future. I like
Yeah.
that. Well, let's close with some words of wisdom from a guy who's pretty popular around these areas, Mike Ditka, legendary Bears coach, 85 Super Bowl team. Success isn't measured by money or power or social rank. Success is measured by your discipline and inner peace.
I like that. Thank you guys very much for coming in and sharing those words of wisdom. And Rusty, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
See
you, Paul.
you guys again next week.
We'll be here.
With those
Good
words
job,
of
Rusty,
wisdom,
thank you.
Yes,
It's
thank
always
you.
good to make
Appreciate
sure
it.
we have
Thanks, Rusty.
better awareness of
Yeah.
the duty. I know people
All
don't
right.
know.
Yeah. Well, and I think